Hey guys, let's get straight to the point. This is my first POV street photography video, so if you have any comments and suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. Today we'll be walking from the Canada Line Olympic Village station to the Science World in Vancouver. If you have been to Vancouver before, the Canada Line SkyTrain station or any SkyTrain station, it's actually the subway in Vancouver. And it's really convenient because it goes straight from the airport to all the places that you want to go. So from Olympic Village Station, which you can see right now in the middle of the screen, we'll be walking along the it's West 2nd Avenue, all the way to Science World, where we'll see some waterside, and we'll stop at around here at the Terminal Avenue, because this is actually the first part of the super long street photography walk, where I actually will continue and go to Chinatown in Vancouver. So this is first part because I don't want to make the video super long. So let's get straight into it. So the camera I'll be using today is the Ricoh GRII, currently my favorite street photography camera. And the effects that I'll be using is the positive film and also the high contrast black and white effects on the GRII. You don't really have to choose which one to use because you can develop the raw photos if you're shooting raw and have the effects applied after you have taken the photo. So you don't really have to choose, but those two are the ones that I will be using in this video. So as you can see here, I'm with my GR2 and the weather is so nice, super sunny. That's why I decided to film this POV video, because with a lot of sunlight, you have a lot more things that you can take photos of, and they should look really good with the high contrast. So the first thing that I noticed is this lady on her bike with a really bright pinkish, purplish jacket, and I think the color really pops. So as a warm-up photo, that's not bad at all. Then I continue to walk along the West 2nd Avenue. You can see that under the bridge here that there are some graphics design. I don't know what it is, but in Vancouver, there's a lot of art designs similar to this. And it's pretty much like everywhere, especially close to the Olympic Village or Broadway station. Here, I noticed that under the bridge is such a cool leading line. So I took a photo like this. I noticed that the white balance is a little bit off. I don't know why, but I'm on auto white balance, and I tried again, similar, but I really like this shot because of the leading line. And then I noticed that, hey, why not take a photo of the rooftop, because it looks really cool. I think I should have taken it like straight on instead of at an angle because of the line losing the color on the side, but that's okay. It looks pretty good with positive film effects. And then I took a picture of this pillar. The colors are really vibrant with the positive film effect. Everything you're looking at is straight out of camera JPEGs. No editing whatsoever, no, not even cropping. So you can imagine the angle of the lens and also the colors and all the contrast in camera. When it's sunny, I really enjoy taking photos of people in the shade and also with like a slash of light on them. So same thing with buildings. I really like the shadows and bright light contrast. By the way, I am using aperture priority on my GR2. So basically I just need to choose the aperture, which I usually shoot wide open at f2.8, because if I focus on something that is far away, everything will be in focus anyway. I took a picture of this cool chair and I used the high contrast black and white. I feel like this removes all the colors of the wall and also the colors of the window frame, which was kind of distracting. So I used black and white instead. And then I walked a block. I noticed that again, high contrast, bright sunlight on this building right here. I took a photo at an angle. It looks pretty good already to me, but then I thought, hey, since I'm taking a photo of a garage door, why don't I take a photo straight on? Because I think that would be pretty cool instead of having the building behind it to be like part of the distraction. I would rather just take a photo kind of straight on, and I think I took a couple of photos here. Sometimes you just need to take a couple of photos at the same spot just to work the scene. Even without people walking by, it's okay if you're taking photos of like buildings and stuff. You still want to take a couple of them. That's the beauty of taking photos with a digital camera, so you're not wasting film. And then I walked by it and I noticed this card right here. I took a picture, and sometimes it's pretty cool to include your own shadows in the photo, so that's not bad. And then I walked another block. I tried to fast forward the parts that I'm not taking photos of, but I still want to show you how I walk through that part. So that's how I want to do it. If you have any comments or suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. This is a beer brewer company, so they brew their own beer, and I think this is pretty cool, and kind of signature of this location is a really nice restaurant. I think I've been there like once. And then I walked by this area where there's some really cool tools and stuff under the building. So I took a picture of that too. And then I noticed, of course, different colors of people's clothing really make nice pictures, especially for street photography. Again, this is straight out of camera, so the colors are really vibrant and contrasty, which is nice. And sometimes I'll be taking photos of like pigeons walking on the street, but I can never get a good one. I don't know why, except the ones that are flying in the air, I think. So I keep walking to the water side of this area, and of course I saw a shadow of myself. Again, high contrast black and white, no editing whatsoever, straight out of camera of my own shadows, which is pretty cool. I think high contrast black and white works really well when it's like super sunny. If it's like gloomy and not super high contrast with the light and shadows, then not that great. Here is Science World in Vancouver. I took a picture. Let me pause the video for a little bit to talk about this picture right here, because on the GR2 I had the EV compensation, the exposure compensation set to -1. That's how I do or take pictures when it's like super sunny. But I noticed there's one problem here. The GR2 shutter speed can go only up to 2500th of a second. So that was not fast enough to capture a photo like this with the -1 EV because the sun was too bright. So what happened was, this is the first time I realized I need the built-in ND filter, because usually I don't use the ND filter because I don't really do slow shutter speed photos, at least not yet. But this situation right here, I need the two-stop ND filter built in on the camera in order to take a photo like this with a -1 EV exposure, and the camera was still trying to use the highest shutter speed, because 2500 of a second is not fast enough to take photos in super bright sunlight. So this is with the ND on, and from that point on I actually set the built-in ND to automatically kick in whenever there is too bright of light. So that's how my camera is set up right now. I really like the colors of this photo. And then this is we're across from downtown Vancouver. That's downtown Vancouver with the I think that's the Rogers Arena. So it's a really nice walk, even if you're not taking photos. So definitely check this out when you are in Vancouver. And then I noticed one thing is I actually need to tie my shoelaces. So just be careful when you're taking street photography photos. Just also pay attention at your surrounding, because like you don't want to trip and drop your camera. And then I got a little bit closer to the Science World, which is a really fun place. This picture here, I actually exposed for the highlights, so that's why the building was correctly exposed. The sky was like a little bit darker, but then it's protecting the highlight. But the problem is the shadows are crushed, so you really can't see the person in the front. But it's okay, you know, like we just need to practice to pick the right exposure, especially when you are taking photos just using the JPEGs but not RAW. With RAW, you can probably bring up the shadows and show what's in front of the science world. But this is JPEGs. It's okay. I'm trying to protect the highlights, so that's why my camera was set to -1 EB. Again, when you see one scene on the street, I would recommend you to try to take multiple photos and multiple pictures of the same scene to see if you can practice taking the photos with different compensation, different angle, different distance, different lighting, different exposure, just to play around with it to practice how you see light and colors. That is why I almost do street photography every day, just to practice seeing things with my eyes, seeing colors, seeing lights. And then I continue walking along the waterside. I noticed that there was one person down by the water, so I just snap a photo. I don't think this one is great, like that great of a photo, but you know, it's again, it's a practice. It's the process of practicing taking photos. And then I walked even closer to Science World, and I noticed that there are some boats parked really close to the water, like well, to the ground. So I took some photos here. The first picture, I took it from a pointing down direction. I think this looks really good already. Too bad that the pole on the boat, it's way too tall that I could never include it. I tried my best to lower myself just to take the photo at a different angle, but it's still not low enough. But I really like these two photos. They work really well. And this is almost the end of the video, where I kind of stopped and I saw this person in the shadow. Again, I really like the long shadows when it's on a sunny day. So this is a really great picture to me, at least. Taking street photos or doing street photography, a lot of time, I would say it's more for myself instead of having to have super amazing photos where I can show it off to people. Like, I don't really do that, but just to practice taking photos on the street is a really good way to learn. And I think having nice photos that you can keep for yourself, it's really fun. I like looking at all the photos like when I'm home all the time. So this is the part 1 of the super long POV video where I walk from Olympic Village station of the Canada line, which is the subway of Vancouver, all the way to Chinatown. So the second part of this video will be me taking photos in Chinatown, where I'll be taking photos of a little bit more of the people instead of just the scenery. I know street photography, a lot of people say that like, oh, you should show more people, like everyday life stuff, but I'm still a really new street photographer. I don't even consider myself one yet. So this is what I'm gonna do. I am gonna walk to Chinatown, which will take a little bit, and I will show you guys my POV video in Chinatown, Vancouver in the next video. Again, this is my first POV video. If you have any comments or questions or feedbacks, let me know in the comment section below. What kind of street photography do you do, and what kind of camera do you use? Definitely share them in the comment section below. I would love to learn from you guys as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.